Wes, oh my goodness, it's so good to have you here. I fucking love hanging out with you, dude. I got a bunch of questions here for you. Is it all right if I just like fire off some questions and then hopefully I can not sound like too much of an idiot, but I'll ask you some questions if that's all right.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
good.
sick. Okay, cool. Okay, so I've been a big fan of your playing for a long time, obviously, and there's something really specific about your playing that I've noticed, and I actually like. I've never told you this, but there's a part of our live set where I think about you every single time I play it. It's weird. I'm like, I wonder what Wes would think about my guitar playing in this one moment. And it's one riff. We don't play the song live anymore, but it's a very specific mid to high tempo, alternate picked, palm muted, heavy riff, string skipped, that kind of thing. And I feel like that's the kind of thing you're really good at. One of the things that makes me think of you is the front angling that I put on my pick. So I really take my thumb, and you can probably see it here. I mean, you know what it looks like. Taking it and putting your thumb forward rather than like this is what I usually do. Really putting it like that. I notice you play with your thumb forward a lot like that. Why do you play like that? And is it like an intentional thing, or is it a tone thing, or is it just how you learned how to play?
Um,
Sorry,
well,
I
to
talked
well,
way too much at the beginning of the
thank
video.
you for all that. That was I that's interesting. I don't know that it looks too much different than other guys, but I will say something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a friend of mine who is a just a real just like if there is anyone these days who just has like guitar playing with a gigantic barbaric penis and balls on it, it's this young guy named Spiro Ducius. I don't know if you've seen any of his stuff, but
Yeah.
so dude, when I was a kid, I broke my thumb, and it was. Do you ever remember? Do you ever remember where like someone would stand behind you, and um, they'd push you and you'd fall over because like the back of your knees hit them or whatever. I fell back and I broke it, and it grew back kind of weird. Like if you look at the way this one bends as opposed to the way that one bends, it bends down and
Right.
shitty. That
Right.
you see that?
Yeah.
So I think um, one of the things that uh, if there is sort of a downward thing like that, I notice that if I do this, if I bend too much like that,
Mm-hmm.
it pulls the pick away from the string. So like pretty much most of the time, I'm trying to be like that. I guess there's certain things where the thumb comes
Oh.
in play when it comes to like crossing strings in like an economy picking sort of pattern. Like I try to keep it straight rather than like this because if I bend it like that, it pulls it back because you can see the way.
Yeah.
Like, do you see how it does that
Yeah.
instead of like a straight pull? So that is actually something um, Spiro helped me figure out.
Oh, okay.
But the angle thing I think comes. I mean, like it's interesting. Do you play like this because you want the pick to be flatter to the string, and that's what helps you? Because when you come up over the guitar like this, like kind of the sound of electric guitar, as I guess most people have come to know it, is this little bit of an angle, like Paul Gilbert. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like he
of
always talks
course.
about there's that little bit of a the angle where like the pick is doing a
Yes.
little bit of that as it passes into the string.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it comes to like something that I was gonna like that type of like
Mm-hmm.
that type of a thing, I if I do this, it'll pull the pick away from the string. If I
Mm-hmm.
try to keep it like more like you, then it ends up keeping it flat.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I lay claim to having a pick at an angle like that. Do
Oh,
I
okay.
really?
Yeah. Well, that's how I always thought about your guitar playing. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
You're right about that Paul Gilbert thing. That's actually exactly why I asked about it because the scraping of the string is that's exactly what he said. And when you played those economy picking runs, those arpeggios you were doing, That's something he would never do. He would never play it like that. He would alternate pick all that stuff, but he would get the same kind of grittiness out of the. He would get that sort of rasp out of his pick, just like you did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that brushy sound that he talks
yeah,
about.
dude, I love it. Yeah, I love it. Man.
Um,
That's cool.
but that type of
Cool.
3-1-3 thing, that's popular in economy picking, that is something that I have a lot better time with ascending than I have descending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's some guys who have really got the descending economy thing down, but I still find that that feels like feels a lot better to me than trying to go like this, but alternatively, like just like a regular that type of a thing. If it's a single string thing, and that doesn't ever feel weird to me. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you're doing like, what I think you're doing is more exaggerated downward pick slanting on the ascending, and you even have that sort of front angled pick. So you have a bit of a front angle. I play kind of almost back, like I kind of almost play the opposite to you. But and you're saying how, oftentimes people, maybe they're better at the descending economy picking. Maybe one of the reasons why you feel like you aren't, even though I'm sure that you are quite good at it. We always pick at our biggest flaws and point them out to everybody, obviously. But the upward pick slanting might just be so like so the opposite of your downward pick slanting in a way that's maybe more different than other guitarists, just because of the shape of your thumb. And if your thumb goes, I don't remember which way it goes. Does it go in towards your hand, or does it go away?
It does like a weird down
So it
thing.
goes away.
You know,
Yeah.
do you see that? That thing sucks.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an '82 model right there. That got this one.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? This is it's great lead into the next question, because I have a whole bunch of questions for you. And feel free to tell me to shut up at any point. Scalpel picking. I feel like you add that to your playing in a lot of ways too. You add a little bit of that thumb and index movement. Is that something you intentionally did? Because like right now you haven't done too much of it, but I go back and watch some old videos of you, and you'll do some stuff where there's some sort of dexterous kind of playing, and you do a bit of moving around the strings. Yeah.
That type of a thing I kind of have to. I think that's where the thumb thing comes in, and it's weird. I don't know if it's like totally clear what the rule is, like for like dudes who definitely have got the technique thing down almost to rules, like Anton O'Parin or like Spiro or those guys. They definitely could tell you why exactly it would be wise to not use it. It doesn't seem like the thumb comes into play when it comes to even groupings, like anything that is where you don't have to change slant at all. But that thing, actually, the thing you're talking about where the thumb would bend like that is something that I've been trying to avoid, especially since I got home, just because it is what it does. Like I said, is it pulls it away. Like, dude, if I showed you right now, I don't want to fuck up the shot, but if I grabbed that cram and if I showed you, it literally pulls it up and away in like a way that it wouldn't do if it were just this thumb. I guess it might have somewhat of a sound to it, but it isn't something that is super reliable. It definitely, like, not if I have my guitar down, like where I play it live, it definitely pulls it super away. So it's something that I have to kind of try to pay attention to.
Does the feeling of that affect your pinch harmonics as well too? The sort of like, because like I find that I have to really move my wrist. I have to supinate my wrist a little bit to get my pinch harmonics, and I use this big spot on my thumb right there, the big flat part of my thumb, to get my pinch harmonics.
I guess it happens right there.
Yeah, right there.
Is that where yours happen? Dude? That's an interesting one. Matt Perrin does his right there.
Crazy.
Yeah. There's like everyone's sort of got a different spot that
Crazy.
they do it.
Yeah.
Mine happens right there. He does them right there. So I
Yeah.
guess he has them like his pick and his finger sitting there at the same time in the
Yeah.
same way that like, and they go off at the same time, which is a pretty big distance for that to happen. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I find the most reliable is to just have this sort of. So it's right. Like it's. I really bring my hand back like that. But I find not a lot of guitar players do it like that. They don't generally bring their hand back. A lot of people find a lot of success just getting the side of their thumb. But I think that I just need to get a bigger area. Otherwise, I'll just fuck them up. You know.
Yeah.
It's the most inconsistent technique in guitar playing, I find.
Well, I mean, dude, this is a weird one. Like, and it's generational sort of because like if you're I was born in 82, fully giving away my age there.
Sure.
So like I and I guess most people my age grew up playing guitar through like actual ohmage, like the reaction between like a power section and a speaker, right? And that format like rewards playing super hard. You know what I mean? Because like
Sure.
that is something that you have to do to like get a sound, which
Right.
might be why like certain dudes from an era play at more of an angle than others and play with like a certain velocity more than others. And as you know, when you like switch over to a modeler type thing, right? Like out of convenience or out of like trying to be a polite support band so you can get out of the way real fast.
Yeah.
Modelers kind of beg to be played through in a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, which is not fucking laying into it. You know what I mean? Like that's been my experience anyway. That was like one of the biggest things when I learned. It was like, oh wait, like this thing doesn't. I guess that's why all these new load boxes like the have like a reactive load in it, where they're trying to approximate what that actually feels like, a relationship between
Interesting.
power section and
Yeah.
speaker. But that is one thing that like is different, I guess, sort of changed
Yeah.
how hard I play, you know what I mean? Because there's a point where that doesn't sound good playing hard. I don't know that same sort of threshold happens on drums, because like drummers are celebrated. Like you hear dudes like, oh, that guy hits hard as fuck.
Yeah, it's always a point of pride.
It's always that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not like an engineer, so I don't know if that's like if there's such a thing as being able to hit a drum too hard. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
yeah. Maybe specific drums react better to the hardest hitting drummers, and then others don't. But I know what you mean. It's funny because you have like you said something interesting. You have a generation of people, and I would say most like anybody your age or older, or even maybe 10 years younger, have played more, or at least they came up playing through actual amps, and that was because that was the only option. And I mean, I didn't. I mean, I played through an amp a little bit when I was younger, but like as soon as I could, I was playing a pod. As soon as I could, I was playing anything else line 6 because it was more portable.
Was the beginning of Archspire heads and cabs?
I played with a head for maybe 6 months, maybe a year, and then it was straight to a pod. I think XT Pro. We did one tour with me playing through a head, and that was it. So, yeah, I mean, it's never been the MO of the band to play through, tube. It's just never really like for us. It's like, no, let's use something very like compressed, very digital. Let's use something that is extremely consistent. Whatever it's and it worked for me as well. Just trying to keep things light, trying to keep things portable, trying to keep things all in ones, because I didn't have any money. So hey, I'll buy a thing so I don't have to buy a tuner. I don't have to buy a dry pedal. It kind of makes the most sense. But yeah, you have a generation of people that have gotten into playing guitar and they play through amps and have developed their style. And then the generation after, so people that, younger than me, grew up listening only to guitarists that were super hyper edited. So you have guitar players that played through only amps. The next generation maybe played through modelers exclusively, almost exclusively, and also all the recorded music they heard was extremely over-engineered, highly edited guitar playing, guitar solos, especially in death metal, technical death metal. Everything is hyper edited, pop music hyper edited, and it just changes the almost like the mindset of a group of musicians. And I don't know. I wonder if you can kind of relate to that, like, because I know that you have what I would consider a very natural feel on the guitar, and what I mean by that is really good vibrato. If you pick up a guitar and you just riff, it just kind of comes out, and that's not because you are quote unquote naturally talented. It's just because you like playing the guitar quite a bit. You like to just sit around and fucking jam, and so that's not necessarily the same mindset that guitar players have, once they started, when they grew up listening to, I don't know, I mean, for lack of a better definition, bands like my band that are just completely fucking edited on the album. You know what I mean? It's like note for note edited, like, I wonder what your take on that is.
My take on,
Like how generations of musicians are affected by what they hear and what they're exposed to. And if you think that there was an ideal, would you prefer head, cab, hell yeah, let's everybody play through heads and cabs, feel the air, feel the speakers moving, blah blah blah, or no way, let's condense everything, let's keep it small, let's keep things digital, let's see what we can explore that way, because I know you're a big proponent of that as well, with the Kemper tones and all that
yeah,
kind
I
of thing.
mean, dude, fucking, like, you know, the last however many years, I mean, dude, it just makes so much sense. And I think, like,
Yeah,
really a whole lot of bands, at least in metal, are doing this, or at least got the idea to do it, because of Meshuggah, and for two reasons,
sure,
right?
yeah,
Because Meshuggah sounds, otherworldly live, and
bonkers,
and it also, it seems like, because, like, if anything, if Meshuggah says anything's good, usually, like, you're like, oh, okay, it's good, I take it. But
sure, sure,
uh those
it's
definitely
true,
are due to who are still into amps, and I think largely probably record with amps these days. I don't think there's any rule, and I don't think I have a preference on it,
great, that's awesome,
either way. I can say that, like, um, I have never really loved the way that a guitar sounded in ears.
oh,
How do
okay,
you
great, yeah,
do you love the way your guitar sounds? Like, I mean,
love
mine,
love
I'll
it,
put it this way. Like, mine sounds and feels better than ever since I went to the Axe Effects. Um, but still, like, there's something about experiencing, like, a guitar speaker, like,
mm-hmm.
or what you're getting from a guitar speaker as it's coming through, like, whatever, however many feet of air until it gets you.
Right, right.
And that seems to be like, a more rewarding experience, but in a lot of cases, not the best representation of how you're actually playing, right?
Sure,
So,
sure.
so I would say, like, playing through modelers and all that probably taught me more about how to make good guitar sounds for me with a real amp, like, in
Right.
almost in some way, like, through home recording and trying to figure out how to make one of these things sound good for you. You learn, a lot of stuff about EQ and, like, how much gain to use and everything like that. But uh I guess I more meant, like, um the newer generation of dudes um who have, I guess, played through modelers and like have um, not played too hard and have kind of
Mm-hmm.
like really developed a technique on what is probably a pretty revealing sound. I think it probably makes them sound better through an amp, you know? Like in
Mm-hmm.
the same way that I just said that like probably you play guitar better now as a result of like having it so far into your fucking ear and in such a
Yeah.
revealing way that
Yeah.
like it's yeah, I mean, dude, it is like I've said this before. I think it is, you know, when you go for a run or something and you come back and your penis is like that big, you know what I mean? Like it's just shrunken up in your body. That's what it is playing in ears, pretty much for the first time. You know, you're like, oh fuck.
I- yeah, I know the feeling. Yeah, sometimes I remark on it. Like I was telling you before the call started, I recently got tattooed, and that's exactly what happened to me. I went to the bathroom between getting sessions of getting tattooed, and I was like, "Whoa, my body is just like not into this right now." And I know the feeling of you have all of your essence basically just like like you feel like those big awesome heavy swinging fucking riffs just in your ears absolutely fucking yeah, I know the feeling. I feel like I've just either gotten used to it or I have better in ears now. I'm using 64 audio that have a lot of drivers. Plus, we listen to stems, so we don't listen to each other. So it is this perfect mix of everything that sounds edited and heavy and awesome and mixed and limited from the album. So it's like I'm playing along with robots in my ears. And so, yeah, but you're right. I have gotten it's a catch 22 because you have yes, you get better. And yeah, you get all that stuff revealed to yourself and you go, "Okay, these are all the things I need fixed, blah blah blah." And I remember we were sound checking I can't remember where. It was in the European tour last year. And I remember listening to all the small inflections that I was doing live in my ears, and I thought I should go out front of house during sound check and just see what this sounds like before the venue started filling up or whatever. So we're there before the doors open. So I go front of house and I'm playing all this small stuff. I take my ears out. I'm like, oh, no one can hear a fucking thing. No one can hear any of it. Zero of those small inflections that I've been focusing on for years. No one can hear a fucking thing. They can just hear the note and maybe a pinch harmonic or something. I'm like, so most of the stuff is just me doing it for myself at this point. You know what I mean? Because it's just, you're playing death metal in a big venue. What do you expect? It's boomy. There's sounds going everywhere. There's reflections. It's just, it is what it is. But
Well, but that being said, it probably all that stuff has made recording guitars for you like way better
hands down,
because
hands down.
you're aware of all that other stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And
hands
I
down.
will say, like, I mean, and I think kind of what you're saying is that if you have like a 68% show in your ears,
Yes.
it's great up front. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it does take a lot of the pressure off of you. That's exactly right. You go like, I didn't play that well, but no one could tell. And it's, sometimes you need to. I mean, we just did I think 26 or 27 shows together last month, and you can't ride the this was the best show I've ever played ever. You're gonna have the worst show of the tour at some point. And you have to mentally prepare yourself for that because it's gonna happen no matter what. And if you get to that point and you go, fuck, and you really let it get the better of you, you're gonna just spiral downwards. You just cannot let it get to you. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I felt like every band on that tour, I mean, top down was like playing really fucking good that whole tour. So
I agree. I agree.
it was one of those things that um I I I think that I definitely still probably try. I mean, I'll put it this way. Like if I have one of those like 60% nights that
Hmm.
are a bummer, I guess what it does is anytime that you've seen one of your favorite bands play like kind of a bad show, you think of like, oh yeah, like some of them like woke up, in a hot ass van at a Flying J, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
had like some shitty Cliff Bar, you know what I mean? And
Right.
like loaded their shit in the rain, and they had to park fucking like wait at like
Yeah.
all is that's the type of stuff that like as you stack it up, like especially now being like a band like you guys that's it's over the hump where you put in the time to where you can have
We have a fridge in
a,
our tour vehicle so that we can.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
that's one of those things that you guys are over the hump. You guys have put in all the work to where like you guys have crew now and you guys draw a fuckload of people, and like
Thank you.
that makes it to where you can like reliably spend, I guess, more time getting ready for the show or whatever. Actually, not in your case. You guys had to do that fucking meet and greet every day,
We didn't
and
have
then
very much time on this tour at all, dude. And yeah, you have basically had to do two shows. You had to sound check, you have to do all that stuff, which is great. It's so awesome to be able to sound check, and you know exactly the feeling because you sound checked every night. Just so nice to be able to get all the shit out of the way. Playing second or third on a four band bill is really shitty because you just don't get, for anybody who's listening hasn't played a tour. Headliner band loads in first. They sound check. They set all their stuff up. They push it back if they need to on stage. Otherwise, they just cover it in sheets. And then the other band set up their stuff, and then opener band sets up and sound checks. And the sound check is so helpful because then you just get to know that everything works. Because when you get to this point of being in a band, you you worry about the technical stuff more than you worry about the musical stuff. I find you go, okay, well, yeah, I'll play the music, whatever. I hope my Kemper turns on. I hope my cables aren't broken. I hope my wireless frequencies work in this venue. I hope there's no weird ground buzz in this venue and it comes through my pickups. Like, there's so many things that you just pray that just go totally fine because when you're playing second, opener band ends, you have 15 minutes to set up and play. And it's like, bro, it's so stressful, you know? So it's just great to be able to get that stuff out of the way. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
What was like how many headliners has Archspire done now?
I mean, like, I wouldn't want to call the early ones headliners because it was really us just playing because no one else would play with us, and then we played in front of 2 people or 10 people or whatever. But I mean, maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 15 or something like that, 12 or 15, like a decent amount. Like I would say, like a good third or maybe almost half of our tours are probably headliner tours. You know what I mean?
15 full headliners.
Maybe like maybe 12, if something. Yeah, I mean, we've headlined Europe 2 or 3 times. We've done headlining runs between festivals. We've probably done 6 North American headliners. Plus, we've done Canadian headliners. Plus, we've done Australian, Japan. We've done South America, or we've done Mexico. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, in terms of, yeah, probably around there. Yeah.
Does the feeling of having a successful headliner supersede the relaxed vibe that you have when you're just a direct support band?
Oh yeah, because I mean, when you're direct support and the show doesn't perform, you're like, it's not us. It's all good. You're like, well,
Does it?
they couldn't draw, so what do you expect? It's like, it is so nice to not have that on your shoulders. Because every day on this last tour, and I don't think anybody else on the tour is doing this, but I was looking at those pre-sale numbers. I'm going, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Oh, I hope this one market gets. If they sell 100 more tickets, I'll be happy. If they sell 74 more tickets, I'll be happy. If we can sell it every day, and you're just thinking about that. And so, yeah, that part of it is really stressful if you really care. And I mean, like, we really, really care.
Right. And I
Yeah.
mean, there wasn't a fucking bad show on that whole thing. The
No,
whole thing
yeah,
was
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Um,
I think you're right. I think pretty much every show was sick.
um, that that being said, do you miss being able to pull into a shopping center and like go and like get coffee and take a shit at whatever place, um, rather than like the wagon where you have to like pull into some like special gas station at diesel
I
and
I think what I miss the most is the money that you save from not doing a bigger vehicle. I mean, we did a headliner in 2022, and it was the first one after COVID, first one after our most recent album came out, and we did it in a van. We had 7 people. We had sleeping room for 6. We did 7 people in that van, and we made so much more money than we thought. It was great. I mean, like, it was our first truly successful tour. Like, it was our first tour where we thought, whoa, like, we actually made enough money to pay our rent for a few months and not have to worry about money too much for the next few months. It's like, whoa, like, holy shit. And if we had done it in a big vehicle, that money probably would have gone just away. It would have just disappeared, and we would have gone, oh, that tour is pretty good. You know, it's, yeah. I mean, you definitely, because I mean, you've done bigger buses. You've done buses in Europe. You've done you've done buses in North America as well, I believe. Yeah.
one Summer Slaughter 2012,
Summer
and it was
Slaughter,
a
yeah.
really bad bus.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's crazy about like bandwagon and a lot of these companies is you're like, for anyone that's like listening, like hiring like a professional coach is like more money than a lot of people make in a year. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be antagonistic while I'm saying it. I'm just being like real. Like, it's fucking expensive. And
Yeah.
you would think you would have this just shit hot, well put together fucking rig that, like, you know, someone's gone through with a fine tooth comb and checked the brakes and the air system and made sure they wouldn't overheat and everything. And oftentimes, you know, like, especially with bandwagon, like, you know, there's a problem with it and you call that guy and he's just like, oh, that sucks. Like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Right.
it sucks. All right, see you later.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you know, like, so that's what I'm talking about. Do you miss the, I guess, somewhat reliability and relative cost difference of fixing a van and, you know, all that other shit than, you know, like the wagon? All things considered, if Archspire could take like 2 vans, would you rather do that?
I'm not going to say I miss it, because I'm going to tell you, our next tour, we could be back in a van, because you never know. Because everything is it's so up to what the perception of your band is. It's so up to what the ticket sales are like. It's so up to what markets you're doing. And if we did another tour and we said, let's do a B or C market tour, and we go play Spokane, and we go play Eugene, and we go play, you know, just, you know, I don't know, small cities all across the U.S. and Canada, although almost all the cities in Canada are small, we might not be able to have a budget for a bandwagon. So we might have to do it in a van. And that might make the most sense for that tour. And I think that's where maybe we have a bit of a leg up on some other bands, just because we know that we could be right back in a van. And there's something fun about being in a van. Everybody's got this shared sort of suffering, and it's kind of fun. And, you know, it's, you sleeping on a bench seat every night. And I mean, hey, that's most of our career has been that. And it's not the low of the low, because I remember hearing about Flesh God Apocalypse. They did their first tour in the U.S. in a car. I mean, yeah, they just used a rental car and put their guitars in the trunk. And then they just borrowed all the rest of their gear. That was their first Summer Slaughter, the first tour they ever did in the U.S. And they just did it in a car.
Shit.
Yeah. And it's like, well, I don't want to do it in a car, but a van with a big trailer. If we're doing small shows, 250 people a night in small clubs, in cities we haven't played in 10 years, or maybe never played, might be back in a van, and it might just make sense, and it might just be awesome. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of think you kind of have to be versatile in order to keep doing this for a living. Otherwise, your not ego, but your you being accustomed to more comfortable stuff might be your downfall. You know?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Very fair.
So I mean, that's how it is.
When are you guys going out next?
We're gonna do a new album, so we don't know. Yeah, we'll do a new album and then we'll see what's up. Just writing, still finishing writing. But yeah, I do have a few other guitar playing questions just before we're done. We got another.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
I usually try to do about an hour for these. If we got 20 more minutes, if that's all right. I got a couple questions from people on my YouTube channel about guitar playing, and then I have some questions that I really, really wanted to ask you. So let's try this one. You have a really you have a great library of licks and arpeggios that I think have a great balance of blues, jazz, rock, metal, a bunch of stuff all in one. What are some of your favorites that you pick up your guitar and you're just like, damn, like here's my subconsciously played lick that I play. Like, what's the Wes Hauch lick? Something that you don't even think about. The thing that you pick up your guitar and you're just like, here's this thing. It's like
probably this one. That thing?
It's exactly what I'm talking about.
That is like a
Damn.
dominant lick that just has a whole bunch of bullshit in it. Like, I'll say this.
I love it.
Most of the time,
I love it.
like my thing is gonna be like, if I'm fully starting out playing, like, I'm gonna take, just to make sure, because dude, like, I turn into a bonehead, and if I don't try to think about chords and stuff like that. So one of the things that I've been doing for a while is I'll sit here and I'll just play through as slow as I can at first. I'll play through just like 7 chord inversions in a key. So if I'm in F, so I'll take every one of those and I'll do it on these 4 strings.
Oh.
And then what's it gonna be? It's gonna be, what am I doing? G minor 7 flat 5. That's where I'm at. Sorry, my brain's at work. There we go. So.
Oh.
And then I'll just do like.
Sick.
Like, I'll try to get through all those, and then I'll try to get up to, I guess, what would be at 65, so 32nd note triplets. So I got to what, C minor there, and I got C sharp major 7, so I got. see. Let's see.
Damn. Damn.
Couldn't sound.
The control of your right hand is
There we go. You
yeah.
got to get the cup down there, right there.
Damn, dude. You're doing this.
There we go. There it is. That's the sound I'm after, right there. That you know how it's like that type of a sound. I had it before. I was a little bit too far up, but yeah, that's what I do in the beginning of the day.
That's your begin. That's where you start.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that though? Like that's the type of shit I'm doing in the beginning of the day. Like I'm trying to get like, all right, like get that sounding the way it's supposed to sound. At first it wasn't sounding great, but then I'm just like, it's like, oh, okay. The one thing, if you go so
Yeah, what I think you're developing there is you're developing right and hand, obviously right hand and left hand, obviously the coordination between the two. You're not doing a lot of left hand movements, but you're doing different chords, and that's definitely something you're working on because you have to lift up the string a little bit just to kind of get them kind of separated. But a lot of the muting, it seems like coming from your right hand, seems like that. But the more important thing you're doing there with the note subdivision is you're separating where the arpeggio starts. You're divorcing that from where the click is. So you're just doing the note subdivision. Doesn't matter where the arpeggio starts. You're going digga 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 digga. So you're not adding more notes, You're just getting the feel, which is crazy. Yeah.
hold on. That. I'm not great right now, but that is basically the vibes you want to have this.
Yeah.
And have it be a thing where be a thing where it doesn't necessarily feel like a I don't know, like where I'm not doing anything, where I'm not doing anything different, like all of a sudden getting my thumb involved or whatever. Like
right. Oh, that sounds so awesome. It's got such a cool syncopation between the accent notes of the arpeggio and the click. Like, it's got such a great vibe.
There we go. That kind of a thing. That's the shit I do in the beginning of the day all the time to, like, get sort of calibrated.
Damn.
And then I'll take... I might set like a little loop for a progression, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or just maybe even sometimes one chord. Mm-hmm. And I'll play like, bullshit. But like through different rhythmic subdivisions. Like that type, like different, just like it's just literally E minor bullshit. But
Yeah.
like being able to just, I guess, find different stuff at a pretty low tempo like that. You know what I mean? Like there's something about having considerably less clicks to orient yourself with the bar.
Right.
That's been kind of like a thing that I've been trying to make sure that I do, because there's that famous, that famous Victor Wooten video where he like has that drum beat thing and he keeps taking away something to where it's just like on the and of 3 that he's orienting himself with like the turnaround on.
Okay.
And he plays over it like a stallion.
Yeah, sure, he's the best.
Sort of where I got the idea, but
right. Well, I think that might be where you get a lot of the really interesting syncopation, because like I say this all the time, that writing technical riffs is typically a lot easier than writing a really simple riff that's really catchy. And the catchiness oftentimes comes from the melody. Most of the time doesn't come from the harmony, but it a lot of the time comes from the interesting syncopation, the relationship between your riff and the kick and the snare of a drum beat. And if you can have it just play with your expectations a little bit, and if you're having a click track that's like dat, 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 then there is no space for it to fall in between to find those cool crevices that make your head want to go like this. You know what I mean? That's where the coolest shit comes from. I mean, a band that we probably both love, Surreption, they have some of the most killer syncopated rad riffs, and it's like the drums are going full on, but the syncopation of the guitar versus the relationship between the kick and the snare that's where the cool shit comes from. And so dividing your click from taking it at 160 and bringing it down to 80, and you have a lot of space between the notes, might give you a little bit of extra room to figure out where those cool kind of valleys are for you to put something cool. But yeah, that's really interesting. I really like that. There was also one thing that I noticed when you do some cool kind of like inflections with your bends. So I think that's something that maybe a lot of people don't really think about. They think, okay, a bend is you take the string and you go up, but there's so many things you could do. You could do a double bend. You can go hit the note above and then go down a fret and then bend up to that note. You can go a note up and then bend and then do a downwards bend. Like, there's so many things that you could do. I think that you're pretty bend heavy with your leads.
Like if there's if there's a just a A minor 6 chord, and your scale for that, right, is it's either going to be like a Dorian thing, or maybe some sort of, that's probably the hippest minor thing, like the answer's already been given to you by that note.
Sure,
right there.
yeah, it's a Dorian chord.
I'm gonna basically I'm gonna try to make friends with every note that like is around there that is probably not in there. So if I have like a like, that would be like a type of thing right there. But I know I played a major 7. That is sometimes a move. Will do it fast enough, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Like that kind of
melodic minor.
You go like, that's more like the thing, but like.
Yeah. You do that shit too, right? Like that kind of like. Lots of that.
You have a lot of that in the set, right?
A lot of it, yeah.
But yeah, pretty much anytime I can add like this type of thing, like the. Let's see right here. Right here. Like that type of stuff. I mean, it's either gonna work over that or it's gonna work over that. You know what I mean? But
Wow. Holy
uh,
shit. That's so cool.
another one that I really like to do is like I'll take something like this type of going. So I'll go flat 5, bend up, and then you get a flat 6 right there. So you got the, or it'd
Wow.
be. That kind of almost sounds maybe like a horn, maybe, or something, like it's something without frets for sure. You know.
Wow. You know, it's funny if you played it just by the grid too. If you just went up to the note that you're bending up to, it would just have a different feel. But you're doing a bend, and then you're sliding up to another bend, and then you're sliding up to, and just the fact of doing that sort of blurring the edges, making it, like you said, sound fretless or something without frets. It just adds I don't know, something world music or something else, foreign. Really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, you probably think of this too, right? Like when you're sitting there, and you're like, most of the time, right? And I mean, like this is like the dude who really, really, I guess, made me go like I want more out of this was. I mean, I'm still working on it, still gonna work on it probably forever. But first time I heard Emil Wurzler,
He's the best.
I was like,
He's the best.
okay, I want to be able to do stuff like that.
It sounds like he's one of those guitar players. It sounds like they have other notes that you don't have access to on your guitar. You're like, where did those ones come from? You know what I mean? It's like I don't have those ones, but he's playing the same instrument. It's wild.
He has this great lick that is like a. And like just that kind of like so it was, you can take that kind of with you do it with every chord, right? You
Yeah.
can go for a minor 7 flat 5 or whatever, but like being able to take that stuff and go, all right, what's going on there? Like going, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then you see kind of what an A minor 7 chord is made out of up at the top, right? You got this C major triad, right? So you got. So like, what that'll always make me kind of do is thinking of like, all right, well, how if you play off some other interval within the chord, like in this case, right, fucking an A minor 6 chord is F sharp minor 7 flat 5 up at the top. So if you have this kind of like. Or like doing like a going like doing like the like half diminished to full diminished thing or whatever.
Damn, that was sweet.
You know what I mean? Like let's see, going like.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that great right now, but that's the idea. It's like right there. That type of like, so you could go think about it, if you're playing. Like that. Like you're. I start off the root, then the third, and then like kind of descend on the 6th. Emil is the guy who kind of like I don't know if he talks about that as much as he does it, but like I just kind of like that that seems to be the way to that I've tried to play over stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'm like because if you know every chord in the key, right? Generally speaking, and you know what it's made out of too, right? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like if you can like break apart a seventh chord, like I think about it like this, like it's this is nerdy, but I don't really have another way to describe it. Like if you were the last motherfucker on Earth and you knew something about the periodic table and you had access to a bunch of like sodium and chlorine, you would be the first dude to bake salt, right? And you would have the salt business totally cornered. You'd be like, hey, look what I figured out. Fuck
Sure.
all of it, right?
Sure.
So if you know what like all right, so this, right? Like a third inversion, like F minor 7th, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If you know like what's going on with that, excuse me, just played a dominant chord.
Yeah.
Like that type of like playing off of something rather than orienting yourself with the root with like the index finger type of thing has been what like that's like being able to see all that stuff has been kind of like the I don't know, like the way to sound like you're decorating a chord rather than like there's only like so many sick like licks that you'll probably get out of the scale, and there's a fucking lot of them, don't get me wrong, there's a
Mm.
fuckload, right? You know what I mean? But if I look at a chord, you know what I mean, and see what it's made out of, find a different way to play over it, and that will usually have the sound.
Yeah,
um
yeah, it seems like your chord knowledge is just so like you look at chords and it sounds like you break them down, you figure out their inversions, you memorize that stuff, and then instead of thinking about it necessarily like as much like a chord, you're just like spots in your brain might light up on your fretboard and just figure out what notes you can play around it to decorate it so that it doesn't sound like you're playing a scale or a mode or what you're in the chord rather than playing all the notes that somebody might expect in the order that they might expect you to play them, I guess.
I think that's the thing that Emil says is you kind of are always playing chords. You
Yeah,
know
of
what I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
Like at any given time,
Yeah.
that's you're you're kind of making someone hear a chord by playing
Mhm.
four
Yeah.
different notes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
um,
Right.
your guys' stuff um is like chord wise like pretty harmonically like specific, like it's laid out like in terms of a seventh chord or whatever like that, like it's gonna be like, well, you could play this over it, you know what I mean? It's not like going fucking going you know what I mean? It's there's it's gonna be
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um but yeah, the chord thing seems to be where I spend most of my time, like since I got like, cause dude, like I don't know if you get in the realm of this, but like when I am like focused pretty like heavily on just trying to reproduce something really well live, I kind of forget everything on tour. So I've sat here and kind of just like
Yeah.
done chord stuff, which is
Dude.
why
Yeah.
why my hands don't sound super great right now, because I haven't been fucking going, playing technique stuff. But
I think that you sound just fine, Wes. I think you sound pretty good. I think a lot of the stuff you just played fucking blows my mind, and I need to go practice. And if this was a real lesson, we would have been on the first thing that you said that I was like, I don't know what that is, and I would still be sitting here trying to play it. I think you're fucking an insane. I think you're an insane guitar player. It's the shit you played was so cool. That's very, very interesting. And like I just did a lesson with Rusty Cooley last weekend, and the stuff he said on stream in the video, I was like, I need to go back and listen to what he said 10 times in a row so that I can even fucking sort of pick up on what he said. Because like, yeah. So that's kind of the whole point of doing these lesson videos. Is just trying to. I mean, it's a selfish thing. I just want to see other like, I want to know. One of my buddies told me the best way to learn from somebody is not from what they say, but it's what they do. And so watching what somebody like you does when you pick up the instrument, it teaches me a lot more about what kind of player you are rather than maybe something that you might say because language is so limited. You know what I mean? Like oftentimes you just study the licks and you go, oh, I can internalize this. But when it comes to trying to describe it, sometimes it's just like, our brains can really only handle so much, and sometimes it's just, you're in the deep end.
Well, yeah, dude, which is precisely what all this shit was for most of the time. Like, there's a technique thing involved because I'm eventually trying to go. I'm trying to get get that going and getting it feeling relaxed and having it be nice and subdivided. And I'm like, okay, well, how can I kill two birds with one stone? Because like very rarely do I think this type of shit is gonna get you the bag, right? Like the
Yeah, right.
But
Wow.
If I can kind of try to like make at least the technique practice stuff about at least something that I'm gonna use, right? You know what I mean? Like that always that seems to have made a bigger difference for me in the last year because there's this like sitting there and kind of doing stuff like this, like that's cool, and I think it's probably a good thing to do for a beginner, but you should probably take something like some sort of scale, right?
Make it
you know
musical.
what I mean? Once
Make
you got that down.
Yeah.
Like try to take it with something that like is, like something that you could use on your feet. Like if you walk into a bar and like there's the guy they're playing Ted Nugent and you want to go up there and rip.
Yeah. Something applicable, something practical. Yeah, dude.
Rusty, what a guy.
What a guy, bro.
A guy.
Insane.
Okay, that's a great question. What are the, like, if you can think of them, 5 dudes that you think ended up making you sound like you?
Paul Gilbert, Steve Vai, I don't know. I mean, like, I love John Petrucci, but I don't really sound like him. I don't really sound like the other guys either, but I mean, honestly, when I think about guitar and I think about my favorite guitar players, I think about Paul Gilbert. He's the man. He is the guy. I mean, he's not a super technical, by today's standards, really a super technical guitar player. Even back in the day, he was crazy fast. He would do crazy shit. But in comparison to now what they've done with guitar players that incorporate jazz into shred. Even like in the 80s and 90s, TJ Helmrich and all those guys that were Brett Garside, they were doing crazy shit. And Paul Gilbert was, I am a rock heavy metal guitar player who picks the cleanest, picks the fastest, maybe not the Sean Lane fastest, but but he has the right tone of his pick. He just nailed all the basics and then had a bunch of really cool advanced crazy shit. And I just, something about that I just love,
Yeah, yeah, I would agree that Paul Gilbert, like,
he's the man. He's the man.
No one who's listening to this take this the wrong way, and get pissed off, but he is the only guy into his old age that still can pick real good. It's still really, really synced up and fucking like great.
It's great. Yeah, his pick tone is so good, and it just sounds. It's got that aggression. It's got that grating. It's got the pick, the sound of the pick in the string. And it's like, fuck, dude. Like, he's just, And he what he did was he was such a good educator too in those videos. He would come up with simple things, and I would just sit and watch him just for hours and just. Yeah, I mean, like you're talking about how you're not. Playing great. I haven't played. I barely played since I got back from home from tour. I've been focusing on other stuff, but like simple shit that he just like oh man, I can't even play that kind of and that stuff. I would just sit for hours and just play. I just love the simple idea.
I mean, just even the even groupings to that type of stuff always sounds great with him.
Yeah,
like that kind of
Yeah.
I think
yeah, he's the best.
For me, I gotta say, I mean, obviously, everybody on Earth knows I love Dimebag Darrell, but Amyl.
Amyl's so good.
Paul Gilbert.
Yeah.
And Marty Friedman.
That's a big one. Give me a break, dude. I mean, for lead writing, not necessarily he's very technical, very awesome, but for how to write a solo, almost no one beats him. You know what I mean? Marty is one of the best solo storytellers where you go, okay, so a solo should be a story that you're telling in the middle of a song, or it should be its own song in a lot of ways. It has rising parts, it has falling parts, it has tension, release. It doesn't just blast you in the face right away for the entire thing, and it's his just have the story that just goes so well, and yeah, and he's one of the best.
Yeah, and I know that there's probably one escaping me. I mean, I probably the Metallica guys in
dude,
a lot of ways, both of them.
Yeah, they're both so good.
And probably there's a handful of dudes in death metal that I think kind of made you go, oh fuck, okay, that's possible.
Anton Sved. Yeah.
And Anton
the
is
man.
one.
The man.
And Vogue is another one.
Vogue is the man, dude. Come on. You can't fucking argue it. He's so natural. His riffs are so crushing, and he just plays off the cuff crazy shit. He's great.
Yeah, and I mean, it would struggle to find a better performer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he just looks like a fucking maniac when he's up there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
I love it, dude.
What's new shit that you've been listening to?
Dude, I haven't listened to anything fucking new, man. Other than Igor, who I love. I love that band. New stuff, dude. I've been listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos, and I just kind of honestly, sometimes the business side of the band just kind of gets into my brain a bit too much, and it pushes the music side out. But now that we're back into writing, I can actually finally kind of immerse myself in creativity again. And yeah, I'm doing new stuff on YouTube that's very musical, and I'm doing this kind of stuff that's very musical and kind of getting me back into it, which is really nice. But you have to have that sort of ebb and flow, I find, in life. Otherwise, you just get too sick of it. Like, I'll go
No,
6 months
no.
and just hate the sound of my fucking guitar playing. I'm like, fuck, like, what am I doing? But you gotta kind of go back and forth, you know? That's what I find.
No, since I've been home, I've been listening to Julian Lage.
I don't know.
Um, he's a I mean the a basic explanation for him would be like a jazz dude, but he's that's why I have like that's why that's like I would say that guy chord stuff, um, and probably some of the like most unique improv. Like I wouldn't say,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can kind of burn, but like he's more you're just like, oh, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. Um which been kind of listening to and working on that stuff, which like has I've I have faltered in my heavy metal guitar technique since I've been home. But
Yeah.
yeah, the um that's that's kind of where like I don't know that anyone has like really found a way yet to like take what someone would consider jazz. And what is jazz? Jazz is like um someone who with a good understanding of harmony, who's kind of like, playing um shit that doesn't necessarily just belong, chords that don't belong in one scale, right? Like that'd be like a
Right.
sort of like somewhat of a basic definition of it. And like there's all sorts of stuff with that, techniques with like voice leading and all that
Yeah,
other
yeah.
stuff. But like really, like in a lot of cases, if music is supposed to make you go, oh whoa, I've felt that way before, you know what I mean? Like, like even without hearing the lyrics, if music is supposed to make you go like, whoa, shit, like I
It makes you
that
nostalgic
that's
for a time that you have never experienced. You're like, oh shit,
right.
like that's yeah, yeah.
Well, I would say, at least for me, and there might be people who say that I just don't have the ear for it, but most time jazz, like, despite how fucking incredible some of it is, like I'm never going like, man, I've had a day like that before. You know what I mean? I just had, and so
Yeah.
like I guess the trying to dig into these dudes who like are sick with chords has like made me go like because there's so much unexplored dark sad shit in those sounds
Right.
that that's what I like am been sort of, I mean, lusting after forever, but
You lust
trying
after the darkness. I
the
gotcha.
the gypsies have always been
Hell yeah.
the best at it.
Yeah. Yeah,
They
Django.
can make you.
Yeah, dude. Dude, I love the fucking I love how your brain works with music. I fucking love talking to you. I want to make sure that everybody knows where they can find more stuff about you. Are you doing lessons right now? What's going on? Are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the next month or so, we're doing New England Metal Fest,
Okay.
New England Metal Hardcore Fest. I believe it's the 21st. It's the same day as Kill Switch is doing it, and then we're playing some shows around it with. Looks like we're playing a show in New York with Psycho Frame. Have you ever heard them? They're heavy as fuck.
No.
And we're playing some shows with 200 Stab Wounds
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
on the way down. So it looks like we're playing like 12 shows this fall, and then I'm going to be sitting right here or a number of places and agonizing over getting our new record done, which I'm
Sick.
sure you'll be doing too,
It's
right?
exactly what I'll be doing. Yeah, same shit. Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll tour together again. I would love to do it. I
Yeah,
would
yeah, let's do
love
it.
to do it, man. Yeah. So you got new music coming out. You're doing shows. I'll put all the links for everything that you're doing in the description of this. Thank you so much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Thanks, man.
You're the best, dude. Thanks so much, Wes.